Ideally, it would be a good idea if we can automate this part of the process.
Okay.
I would say so the likes of the project managers, even John, if they could go in, if they're looking at a job, they could, in theory, as I build up the pack, you have a sign-in sheet at the back to say that they've
Thanks very much.
understood what's expected of them.
Uh-huh.
But this is a new addition. It doesn't always have that in here before you sign. So basically, Laura, whenever she's been in, I don't know if you met Laura.
No, not yet.
No, you. She went over some of the procedures that we did, and it was more to protect the company as well, from an understanding of the employee side. You'll be confirming that you have read and fully understood the contents within the health and safety pack, and then I mention the pack number, number of pages, and the attachments, which gives you the caution. If at any time you feel that something is not right about the health and safety pack, or the processes or working environment, stop work immediately and report it to your line manager.
Okay.
So that's built into that there. So when they go into it, so when they go in and get this, it sets up with the role, what the job is, the location. Normally we'll put in if we are aware of the people who are going to be on. And normally, if we're sending this forward to a client, it's just to be allocated, or the date when it starts is to be confirmed. All the equipment's put into it.
Is this all manually entered? It's like,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's all manually entered. Every single one of the packs have to be site specific.
Okay.
The bases don't like generic. So each and every one of these I would go through. But this doesn't stop the likes of someone coming in and having like a blank template and for them to follow. I'll be honest with you, I do a lot of cut and pasting because I'll have these packs, and if I got a job that's similar to one that I'm going into, I'll take that folder, that file, transfer it across, and then I'll adapt it to suit the new task. So that's the way I normally do it at the moment. So sometimes John will come to me and say, Kevin, I've got a job similar to what we did 3 weeks ago. I said, well, send us the job report, and as long as I get the job report, the methodology, and the plant and equipment and the people who are on it, I can build the pack. I also put in the training requirements, so all the stuff's put in there. We used to do the reference number for the pack 2 ways. I used to have it that like the method statement would be what do you call it? Say it was 21. The risk assessment would start R21. The method statement would be M21. But we changed it so that it went in with the job number.
Okay.
So the job number then became the reference, and it also became the reference for the risk assessment. So it tied the two together. And at the bottom of it as well, so that it's unique. Each page is numbered, and the actual job reference is there. Because one of the things that was kind of pulled up on an audit was what's stopping somebody from taking out pages, specifically the back page. The question was, you could put any back page on there, and you wouldn't know. And so it was open to be manipulated. Whereas you've got the references all into it, it's page numbered in, so you're signing that, so it's unique to that pack, so that it can't be manipulated. Within the pack, we have the cost assessments, which I do. Some of them have them more simplified, but basically my cost assessments are basically near enough mirroring the material safety data sheets. And what we've found is the clients are now asking that they have the cost assessments and the material safety data sheets. So we do a review every year, or as and when it comes to us. If something new comes in, a new product comes in, or we get notified that there's a change of ingredients in a product, then we check that whenever we go into building the pack. The risk assessments, this has changed recently. We had a bit of an issue with the base. They thought that our system, they couldn't understand it. But we've changed it to the colour-coded system. And if a show you the matrix at the back. You can see there's quite a bit.
Yeah.
God, there's quite a bit. Yeah, got another page. That's the matrix there. What they couldn't understand was, say for instance, I've got weather conditions outside. Possible dangers is one of them is lightning, electrocution, death, and they wouldn't accept that. And I says, well, I can't say what Mother Nature's going to do. And I says there are mitigating circumstances. There's procedures you can put in place. If you hear thunder, you evacuate. The procedure within the bases is that if you hear any thunder, there should be a depot warning.
Okay.
When I used to work up in Glen Douglas, it used to be if you heard thunder in your area or there's forecast of it, and you on hearing it, you stop work, you go down to your assembly place, wait half an hour. If it's not another clap of thunder, then you go back out, you're called out. So it's the same kind of principle.
Yeah.
There are procedures in place to mitigate it.
Okay.
But basically they don't like seeing this, they don't like seeing red.
Right.
What they want to see is, like, for instance, that's the one we were talking about. Adverse weather condition, it could be sun, high winds, heavy rain, snow, thunder and lightning. Tells you what the effects are.
Yeah.
So that's 3 times 5.
Yep.
So it could happen when accidental factors are in place. So it's possible, but you could have multiple serious injuries. So if you're in a group of people, you could get wiped out quite easily. So what you put in there, appropriate protection to be worn for the weather conditions. Sunscreen high factor will be provided when necessary. Seesaw works when thunder and lightning is in the area, and muster at the contractor's compound or works vehicle until safe to proceed back to work. So once that's all been put in, that reduces it down to very unlikely.
Yeah.
So that means it's gone from red to green. That's what they like to see. They want to see that. We do a lot of different jobs in that, so there's a lot of procedures put in with the QAB system in there if we're working off the fence. Also working with Ross Hennigan.
Yeah.
We've got working with the ropes, so we've got procedures in for the ropes. We've also got procedure for suspension trauma. The base were quite happy with that. They didn't realise at the time, so they were learning from us, from what we were doing. So that when they get other contractors in, they kind of use us as a template for other people. What they also like is the way in which we build our packs. They're easy to read, easy flow. Everything's there. If they're on a job, they've got it.
Yeah.
Also, the rescue plan for working on it as well. That's kind of universal. I don't really need to do any amendments to that, because if you're working with the QAB system or rope access, that covers for any task that we do.
Okay.
But I would love to see it if it was automated.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering if there's, like if you've got a portal where you've got all the information on it, do you know what I mean? And then you can just select to create, even if it's just like the first part of the method statement, do you know what I mean? Based on the information that's already been provided.
The problem that you have with it is, see when you work for different companies, you have to obviously change the company names within the methodology. Also their contact numbers. So there's also a bit in the back, I think it's at the back of here, to this page here. If you turn that one there, it gives you the emergency process. And then you have down here who the different contacts will be. This here, primarily working within the bases, is usually all the same.
Yep.
But it depends on what base you're working on.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it's easy to set up something where you tick where you're working and then it changes the thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just a case of.
But this process here would be ideal for the likes of the project managers to work on. It would allow me to have more access to go out and about.
So for the purpose of the tape,
Yeah.
as they say,
Uh-huh.
if there was a workflow created for creating risk assessments and methodologies, and a part of that workflow could be automated, the work could be passed to project managers, which would free you up to do more
Audit.
senior supervisory health and safety work.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're getting at.
I'm not trying to offload my work.
No, I understand,
But-
but you have said you'd be able to audit things, you'd be able to get out on site. But the thing is, it's offloading if you give them this and say, right, do it.
That would be a chunk of my work.
Mm-hmm. But it's different if you say, right, we've designed a thing where it'll take, I don't know, a quarter of the time.
Yes.
That's different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then you
What
train them how to use
What I don't want it to be like is I've seen companies like James Strang's.
Mm-hmm.
They had one, and you would walk away with a Bible or an encyclopedia. What they did was that, say for instance, my risk assessments. My risk assessment can be probably about, on a good day, 3-4 pages.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be more. It can be up to 10 pages. Depends on what the risks are and how many processes are within the job. What they tend to do is for each page, they would have, like, so say, manual handling, one page. Then they have working with chemicals, another page. They would have tarring marks, another page. So what it was is that the paper bulked right up.
Yeah.
So you'd end up with something like that. Could end up being like that.
Like that, yeah.
So I wouldn't like it to be like that kind of system, because whereas you see with mine, I can have. Although I've got one page, it's because there's a lot of detail. When you get to the other ones near the end, you can have multiple ones which fall in. Like that in there, you've got 4 on the one page. So it's mattering how you manipulate that into an automated system.
Yeah. So, with you needing to do the risk assessments and method statements just now and not being able to get out and do the auditing and stuff that you would ideally do, or do it as much as you would like to, has that caused any issues in doing the job, delivery to the client, anything like that?
No, I wouldn't say it has, because we have certain key people that are more than competent of making sure that the client's satisfied.
Who are those people?
One of the main ones, I would say, is Vincent. Lewis. I would say Ross Cowan.
Okay, I've not met. I don't think I've met him yet.
He's a bit young under the gills at the moment, but he has got promise, and he does follow. Certain people you can see can lead.
Yep.
And they stick by the rules. I like someone that sticks by the rules, and I like somebody that challenges. If they think there's something not right, even with my paperwork, and they have done so, they've done it, and I turn around and says, right, okay, sit down, let's go through it. Tell me what you think I could add in there to improve it. And if I think that it's not something that should go in, I would tell them. I say, thank you very much, but no, this is the procedure, this is the guidance, you follow that, and I don't expect you to deviate away from that. But if they come out with something that is a bit better, I'll say, no, absolutely, bang on, correct. I'll put a change in. And we did that recently. There was something that came up, and they came across and mentioned something that would make the task a bit simpler and safer. And I said, not a problem. And I said, but that's all it's all about.
And who is it that's likely to come to you? Is it just the charge hands and the supervisors, or is it the operatives as well? Is there a chain? Is there an established chain of command when it comes to health and safety? Because I know there isn't in other areas.
Yeah, well, I've always said, and I've always made it quite clear to all personnel that if you have an issue, you take it to your line manager or your supervisor, and then the supervisor. And at any time that you think that there's a process that you don't feel safe with, you call it, challenge it. And I says, or you think that there's a piece of equipment or there's a piece of PPE. What I've kind of found is that I don't know, I think it's just the nature. Some staff are what you would call old school,
Mhm.
right? And they think they're doing the company a favour.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I've went up on site and if I've blown anybody in, I've noticed something as I was approaching. They stopped. They disappeared. Too late, I already seen it. And I says to them, I says, can you explain to me what I just seen? And they're like, I went, no. I says, I'm not ignoring it. I says, this individual had been pulled up previously. And I told him, I says, I'll be giving you a verbal warning. I says, you continue down this route. But I'm old school. I said, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in old school. I said, you're being told, you're being shown, you're being instructed, you're being trained. I says, you follow what the procedure that has been laid down. And I see that again. I said, you'll be down in the office before me going through disciplinary. Simple as that. I said, I am not accepting that as an excuse.
And what type of things is it that operatives might do to be old school? Like,
Not wearing the dust mask.
okay.
There's a new thing. I'm doing a toolbox talk at the moment to do with silica dust. So if they're working with a still saw cutting concrete
Yeah.
or paving slabs or brick or anything, we're going to work. There is a procedure in place for them to use that, and they have a spray water bottle,
Yep.
which keeps the dust down. The excuse was that the pipes on the still saw for the spray bottle to work were clogged. And I said, so why are you using it? Have you reported it? Have you spoke to your supervisor? Is there another still saw that you could have used?
Yeah.
If not, we could have got one brought in. There's a manual spray gun. The person beside you, as long as they're wearing the PPE and everything that's correct, they could have sprayed to keep the dust down. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, we're also going to be looking into HEPA filter vacuums for drills,
Okay.
which I have to speak to Chris to when he comes back. And the only reason why I'm aware of this is because I was at a health and safety seminar over at Rosyth for Carillion, which they brought all the safety managers.
Yeah.
So they do this twice a year. And they also have best practice, safe practice, and they sent out an email to show us that the drills, different makes, there's this attachment that goes on which has a vacuum at the front, so it sucks the dust in as they drill,
Yeah.
and it goes into a HEPA filter storage device. That's something that I'm looking at for Chris to get in. Also, we're looking at, obviously we keep a record of the halves for the staff when they're working on the tools. That's another one. Is how would I put this? Chris will buy tools. I won't know,
Okay.
and then before you know, they're out in the work,
Right. Okay.
and then it's not as bad now because we've got more of a grip on it, and I can find out that there's a tool out there I haven't done a half sheet for.
Right. Okay.
So we need to have a really good index on halves. The half sheets that we have are also a maintenance sheet
Yep.
with the halves limits on it and the noise limits on it. So it's like a 3-month sheet, and it has it for the week, and they have to say that they've done the basic maintenance checks on the piece of equipment, and also to put in their hours that they have for exposure, and it has on it what the exposure limit is
Yeah.
for that particular tool. But also we're looking at putting in the anti-vibration gloves as well.
Okay. Is this all handwritten?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Problem we've got is we can't take into the bases PDAs or any electronic devices. There's a procedure, a policy that's just come out. It started, I think it started this month,
Yeah.
that you're only allowed certain electronic devices,
Okay.
portable electronic devices, call them PEDs, within the bases. Most of our work's in the bases.
Have they got a list of what the allowable devices are?
Yes, but they're in zones.
Right.
You have a
Okay.
yellow, amber, green and red zones.
I take it red's like the highest security.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a booklet on it I can show you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
And basically, they're not allowed to wear Fitbits and all this kind of stuff. The phones, if they've got cameras on them, they have to be registered. You're not allowed to take them on base. That's why we have the wee Nokia 105s.
Yeah.
Because all it is the basic phone. It doesn't have internet access or anything. Or it doesn't have a camera.
Do we keep a record of the categorisation zone, if you like, that the jobs take place in? Just so if you looked over the last year of jobs, you could be like, well, 20% of them were in red zoned areas and 30% were in yellow zoned areas.
We could do that, but we haven't. I'll be honest with you.
The reason why I'm asking is if 95% of the base jobs are in something less than red, for example, I'm just picking stuff random, and you can use a certain type of device, which means that you might be able to automate a lot of your processes, even if you're not connected to the internet in the base, but you can connect outside the base and it can upload with a device, then it might save a hell of a lot of work, but of course it depends on how the work is actually sort of divided up in the bases.
The problem you've got is, see this here? Mm-hmm. That whole pack, that's for a job that's coming up, all right? Mm-hmm. I send that electronically to the sponsor, to the project manager over in Coolport.
Okay.
I electronically send it it'll go into Dropbox. Mm-hmm. I'll go to Chris so that he's got a reference to it. I'll go to who the charge hand is, well, that doesn't really go to the charge hand, to be honest with you. We'll go to the project manager if it's the project manager's. The base likes there to be a hard copy. Mm-hmm. Right? Because when the boys go on site, say for instance, if they're in the red area, they will get audited and they will get asked, where's your paperwork? Mm-hmm. Where's your permit? Mm-hmm. And then they'll ask them any of the procedures that they could be following. They would do a check on this here. Mm-hmm. The thing is, this here wouldn't get past. It has to go through what they call the C12 system over at Coolport. It's a T12 in Fastlane. And if it didn't get passed in the first place, we wouldn't be starting the job. Okay. So it gets passed by them. It goes through their system. Mm-hmm. But what they will do is they'll have their health and safety department who will come out and check to see that they are actually doing their jobs properly and they have the paperwork with them and all the rest of it. Normally, I would say probably 99% of the time my paperwork goes through with no problems at all. Okay. But there is an issue with some managers who are in the base who, I don't know whether it's just personality clashes, that we did have one issue. It kind of made it a bit of a mockery. It was to do with rope access, working at height. They stopped a job. Didn't stop it. They wouldn't start the job. But the very same person had the paperwork, exact same paperwork, down in Fastlane, and approved it. Okay. But wouldn't approve it in Coolport. And the reason he didn't approve it in Coolport was because he didn't like the line manager who was processing the paperwork. Okay. So we had issues like that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that I'd love it if it was if you had like a tablet the guys could take and they could follow and do the procedures. Everything's electronic, saves cutting down a rainforest. There probably is areas where you can probably do that, but like so we have a compound down in Coolport which is out with the restrictive zones where Brian can use the MiFi. Yeah. So there is an area where they could go to. But the problem is if they go away from that zone, they still have to have a paper copy to go into it.
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with necessarily having a paper copy of some things that are required. I'm just saying if there's things that you need to physically be filling out, rather than filling it in with pen and paper, do you know what I mean? Unless it's absolutely 100% necessary, then have it on a tablet where you can, do you know what I mean? So it's automatically, you don't need to fill it in and then have somebody else type it up or enter it into somewhere or anything like that. So and I do understand that there does still there will always be a requirement for a physical pack if you're dealing with the MOD or something like that, because they do expect it. But what I'm saying is there might be ways to be able to cut down the amount of double handling. So writing stuff just to have it typed into a spreadsheet, to have it moved into another spreadsheet. yeah, that's the type of thing I'm talking about.
Right.
And it might not be every stage of the process.
Right.
It might just be half of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot. Do
But
you know what I mean?
at least you're simplifying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't. If there's something that can improve and
Yeah.
make it go a bit easier, then
Yeah.
I'm all game for it.
I've already, since you were dealing with the internet a wee bit before, I've had a wee look into it for the past couple of days just to give you a heads up. And I don't think the community fibre partnership thing's going to be any good because it needs to be 2 separate premises. And
Could you not do the camp in us?
I mean, could ask, but looking into it, you could still be waiting up to 2 years
Right.
to have it installed. So, still potential long-term back burner thing. So, what I decided to do instead was look into when the 5G rollout would be coming around this way, and I've not really got a definitive answer for Vodafone or EE regarding that, but it looks like probably by the end of the year. So I was thinking until the end of the year, we'll just get on something like EE Superfast 4G, which I've just had priced up today, and it's less than what we're paying for our 3 broadband lines in a MiFi just now. And that includes portable things that the guys could take out on site with them.
Uh-huh.
So I just want to make sure that it's obviously even using. So the 4G signal here's no great, but it's still vastly superior to the broadband.
Yeah.
So I want to sort of, I happen to be on EE, so I want to kind of test it for myself and keep tethering my equipment to my 4G net connection, and because I've been doing it and it's been fine, but now I'm doing it more to kind of test it, I feel like.
But that'll drain your usage.
And then it's fine, and I just invoice you.
No, because
It's fine. I get absolutely loads of data on my phone, so that's why
I'll give you an indication, like, so I know the internet's pretty bad, but because there's been a lot of people in the office, because you had Brian, Ken, John's not a big user of it. Then it's us in the main office. So last month's usage of the internet through I think it's BT was about 55 gigabytes.
Yeah, I've got it here actually. Did I write it down? Oh no, I wrote it down on my other page.
I think last month was the highest peak.
No, the highest peak was actually a wee while ago. It was 84 gig.
84?
Yeah, the average usage apparently is 63 gig, but it can go as low as 40. Which actually is fine. I get 30 gig on my phone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I checked that with BT, and I was like, because obviously you need to know in order to make a decision about how much Wi-Fi
you have a better system, you might use it more.
You're going to use it more. Well, that's why we went for 150 gig across the 2 sites here in top site. 150 gig plus 315 gig portable dongles for guys to take out on site.
15 be enough?
Yeah, for the amount that they would be using it. Do you know what I mean?
Because I think the biggest strain was that blasted Dropbox when it was updating caused a bit of a drain.
Well, that's the thing. I want to put the kibosh on Dropbox as soon as possible, to be honest.
Thank you.
And be looking at using a Google Drive instead.
I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, a Google Drive that everybody has access to the team folder in order to be able to see what's there, and you don't necessarily need to have access to the individual folders within it, but just a central drive that everybody can access, and that everybody's folders go into, and whether or not people access those folders or not is up to the system administrator, but it's a central place to go rather than this in a personal Dropbox, because you can't then visualise the file management system if there's no a central place where everything's kept.
Yeah.
So I've actually started putting that together today, but that is a work in progress. That's going to take months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's that's not just my intention. That's a key component of the KTP is moving everything over to Google Drive, so you've got like a streamlined one-stop shop system rather than using all these wee bitty
So
ad
you
hoc
could
things.
have like obviously access for like so the project managers. They could have access to like so the cost file with the MSDSs, and that means that they could go in and they could extract what's there for whatever projects they're on, and if there's anything new, then they can upload new files and do new assessments.
Yeah. So basically, there'll be a file called WCC Team. I think I've called it, and then within that file, there'll be health and safety. There'll be clients, maybe, or projects, whatever we want to call it. Be marketing,
Human resources.
HR, yeah, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then IP as well. And then within that, they'll have everything. So it'll be CVs, passes, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? And then within them, there'll be the other things that's needed. And then everybody's got access to this. Everybody will be able to see that these exist.
And they may have limited access.
But they may have limited access. So they might have read-only access. They might have no access. They might not be able to get in at all. But then you see the structure.
Yeah.
You see the organisational structure. It's easy to find things. Everything's kept in the one place. There's no secrets. There's no hiding. There's you know what I mean. It means that people don't have to come to you and go, oh, how can I get a hold of the Kosh file? I mean, it's right there, and if you're supposed to have access to it, you'll be able to get into it. You know what I mean? There's less of this sort of, oh, I need to ask somebody how to get this, I need to do this, I need to do that.
I had a situation a couple of weeks ago. I was with Ken, and he took us down to one of the projects that we're looking at, and it's down at Fastline. It's clearing, scrubbing, taking down an old fence, and putting up a new one. And I thought, crikey, it's the first time we've been asked to go and have a look at a job. So like actually somebody saying, would you like to come down? Usually I have to say, I'm going down to have a look at it, and sometimes it's like, what are you going down for?
Yeah.
I went, excuse me, how else am I supposed to know what the bloody job entails if I don't actually physically see it? So there has been a lot of that. I just get passed a bit of paper, do the paperwork without actually seeing it, which is wrong.
Yeah, you should be more involved in actually on the ground. Sort of.
This is what I want to do. I want to be able to be at the beginning of the process and be able to see and guide it as it goes through. And even with the project managers, which I'll say Ken is the first one to do it, but what I found was he got a bit cocky. And I would say, no, you don't need that. No, then he'll say, but we need this. I said, no, you don't. And I said, you'll need this. So I wasn't dismissing them. I was guiding them because we've done projects and that before. But then he would turn around and he says to me at the end of it, he says, once you've done the RAMs, and he says, you can give me my, I can't remember what they call it again. It's like the project time lead telling you, I can't remember what you call that diagram.
Like a Gantt chart or something.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the very one. He says,
Got one for this project.
you can fill out my Gantt chart. And I said, no, that's not my job, that's yours. He said, but no. I said, no buts. I says, health and safety, project
management,
that is yours. And I says, you fill that in. And what he did was he went behind my back, went to Patrick. Patrick says, you need to do the Gantt chart. I said, you can tell Ken that he can bloody do it himself. He's already been told that it's his remit, not mine. So it's defining what the remits are. And so that they know when not to pull the wool over your eyes and try and pass something off. I'm not, I'm pretty savvy and pretty flexible when it comes to doing what I'm doing. I'll help out any way I can, or sometimes if I have a bit of spare time, if I hear somebody's in a bit of sort of struggling with something, I'll then devote my attention to it. So there's a lot of teamwork.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This project isn't about taking that away from people, because that's the type of thing that makes businesses like this tick. But what it is about is creating that structure, and then when you create the structure, being able to build your communications, build your marketing, build your business and organisational forecast on top of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can never help somebody else. It
No.
doesn't mean that you're stuck in this rigid wee box. It just means everybody knows who's responsible for what the backup person is for that is, what the processes are for that. So that actually what ends up happening is, instead of you spending all your time doing paperwork that could be done by, half by a computer program and half by a project manager, then you can be on site doing the stuff that you should be doing. And instead of being chased up, being asked to do Gantt charts, project managers know that that's what they're meant to be doing, because that's their job. There's no ambiguity about it, and there's a lot of ambiguity here. So,
but what how would I put it? I've got two hats. I wish I had one.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I've got the expertise and the knowledge and the experience on both. But it takes us into a whole different subject. I feel as though I'm undervalued.
Right, okay.
But I feel as though a lot of pressure's been put on me. So, because one minute I can be health and safety, next minute I'm personnel, and that could be taken away from the role that I want to stick with. And
so is it health and safety you would rather be focused on, or is it personnel?
Health and safety.
Health and safety. So, what do you need to do, or what needs to be done in order for you to focus on health and safety?
No, well, I would like to say yesterday, we had 2 new starts. My whole day was gone.
Going with them. So, there's a couple of things, and this is part of the remit of the project as well, is identifying opportunities for growth within the business, because as the business grows, the people within it will grow, and if you want to grow in a health and safety direction, then that means you can focus more time on health and safety, but also training up the people who you want to take over your role. So you need to look at, right, okay, I don't really want to be saddled doing the personnel stuff, and we're hoping that as this project goes on over time, it'll increase the amount of work that's available, and then they'll be able to do more health and safety stuff. So it's identifying if there's a person within the organisation just now who could take over the personnel stuff, and if there's not, then what do we do about it? And that sort of becomes the responsibility of the people who are currently in the positions just now. Do you know what I mean? Like think about right, this is where I want to be. What needs to be done to get over this? Because if there's nobody that could be trained to do personnel stuff, then they need to think about, right, how do we get new personnel blood?
Yeah.
I feel like
I think there's, because a lot of people, and it seems to be we're getting a lot of people from the base, primarily because of their SC clearance. Which that shouldn't actually be just the case. It's taking on somebody just for the sake of a clearance. Because clearances you can get, as I say, you can get them put through pretty quick if it's a clean slate. But it's having somebody with the knowledge and the expertise to follow it through. I find that sometimes I could be working on a health and safety project or paperwork, then I get a call saying, "Oh, you need to check this up. Oh, you need to send an email away to so and so. We need clearance into the base for these contractors." To me, that could be delegated to somebody lower than my position. It shouldn't. Maybe partly it's my fault. I could have probably just turned around and said, "Look, here's the process. This is who you follow. This is who you send it to." And actually, I could get like Kathleen or Marie Claire or Rachel or somebody to do that. The problem what we've had before is that there's been a lot of sort of micromanaging going on. Classic example is the QAB system. There was a lot of cloak and dagger. There was a lot of ill feeling in the last year or so on the build up to the QAB system.
What type of stuff?
Like I said, you weren't allowed to know anything. You weren't allowed. Okay. It was kept hush hush. You weren't allowed to say anything.
Was this just between like Chris and Patrick, or Chris and?
Primarily Chris and Rachel.
Chris and Rachel. Okay.
It was like it was really bad. It was getting to the stage I felt like jacking my job in. It was getting really bad. It was like trust issues. It was like you couldn't be trusted. But as I say, that's all kind of changed now. It's sort of opened up. But the problem was, I had an integral part in the process of the development of the QEB system. I had, how would I put it? I had the knowledge and the people who helped process the paperwork. I knew the local MP. I got him up. He looked at the system, drafted letters, took it to Parliament, showed it to the Under Secretary of State of Defence.
Okay.
They went through, thought it was a fantastic idea, do you call it, and then issued a letter saying we wish you all the best in the future and you can sell it out
Put it
commercially if you wish
yeah,
to.
put it in the open market.
So that letter is crucial, and that was part and parcel of me doing that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get any recognition or
Okay.
acknowledgement for that, so it caused a wee bit of bad blood.
Okay.
But I didn't want to see, because it's a family business. We want things to
Yeah, of course.
work for everyone. Everybody's got a vested interest in it. But for a while, it was a bit like a poison chalice for quite a while.
Okay.
I would say it's got a lot better since.
What
But
do you think's made it better?
this,
Or bringing in somebody to sort of, or a project to sort of change things and all that?
Yes.
Just the
I've seen
physical
a
manifestation of change.
massive improvement.
Okay.
Do you call it? It's given the company a direction.
Okay.
I can see that it can go somewhere. If they could get the QEB system going international, would be fantastic. It will send the company off in a totally different direction. We'll still have our local stuff that we do and work there. So technically, I think it probably split the company in two bits, if you know what I mean, like two different identities, and it could take off substantially. But as I say, if I said to you before, they need to act on it sooner than later, because if they don't, they're going to lose out. And this is why they've got to try and do something more proactive in getting it out there.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's sort of accepted by most people at the moment. Just wanted to sort of thing with when I was talking to Patrick earlier, he was talking about, well, sorry, not Patrick. Who was I talking to? John. I was talking to John yesterday, and he was saying one of the main issues organisationally that there is you just can't get enough bodies for jobs, enough operatives, because we're so busy. And Patrick was saying that's because there's an issue with clearance on the one hand and still needing to fulfil private jobs and all that on the other.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if it might work for a loose structure, if you like, for the company to have firewood and private on the one hand, and that's where your operatives first come in. It's the lowest, don't need any security clearance for that generally. You might need a PVG check or whatever. And you're sort of straight out, you're doing the easier jobs, you know what I mean, the sort of domestic jobs, working your way up to more commercial stuff. And then when you get your clearance, you can be getting into the public tenders work, large commercial and all that sort of thing, as a sort of
Stepping stone.
yeah, as a kind of a pathway to utilising operatives from the day that they start.
Yeah, you have the issue as well. You get some of the guys who see themselves as chocolate.
What, they'd eat themselves.
Yes, they think it's beneath them to do certain tasks. I don't see it that way. I look at it that everybody's multi-skilled, and if the company is like, I'll give you an example. You have the rope access team.
Yep.
There's 4 of them. They on a Friday would disappear into the rope access container and say, oh, they're sorting out their ropes and that. Bollocks. They're in there for a skive. There would be a core team up and doing the firewood. They think the firewood is beneath them, so they don't want to do it. It's not the first time I've gone up there and said, right, you, what you doing? Oh, we're sorting it. No, you don't. Get out, get up there and give them a hand up there.
Yeah.
I expect there to be so many bags of firewood done before the end of the day. If it's not done, I want to know why.
Is that your job to do that?
Not really.
Whose job is it?
It should be the charge hands,
Okay.
and some of them are charge hands.
Right, okay.
So you find some of them will try and play a blinder or try and I've seen it, I've worked in it, I've done it through the mod myself. I know the characters.
Yeah, I think part of that's as part of that's just the nature of working in construction with
It
a lot of
is.
lads.
It
But at the
is.
same time, there's a balance. Yeah.
There is a structure, and like for instance, you've got my brother Gerald, and it's family, so you've got that issue as well. I'd say to Gerald, it's not the first time I've gone up and said, Gerald, I'm going to give you your place, get them out of there, and get them working up there. And I says, I shouldn't have to tell you that. And I says, you should not have your blinkers on. I said, you are in a position where you have got authority to do something. The good thing is that we've got Darren in. Darren's now the yard manager. Now Chris has given Darren a free rein
Yep.
to do with the yard in its entirety. And in his first week there, he has made an impact. I must
Excellent.
admit, because one of my biggest issues was Chris had everything everywhere. There's no bloody. There's nothing there to say where it is.
Yeah.
It's scattered across 6, 7 bloody containers, and Darren will have to go in each and every single one of them and find where everything is. But I says to him, my priority is for you to sort out the chemicals. I want them all centralised. I want you to throw out whatever's old,
Yeah.
out of date, damaged, and I want you to put in an inventory system. Get the shelves. He's got the whole place shelved out. He's got the 2 big fan bolts. He's got it's inside a brick building, and I said, fantastic. And I says, and then he's got it racked out, and he's going to put everything in. And I said, and he's going to put a list of the most commonly used products. And then I said, and what we should have a system in place where you'll be able to see that you've gone down in stock, and you can get to a certain level, you can reorder.
Yeah.
And I says, that's what I would love to see in place. Same going for all the power tools, same for all the plant and equipment. He's going to create zones, segregations, and have them all in certain areas. Also spoken to him about we'll have to redo the transport plan for the yard. Make sure we've got all the proper signage up because of all the new buildings gone up. We're looking at the top site being hopefully the only entrance is coming in is at the bottom for the heavy vehicles and the trucks. The likes of ourselves, we would go in the top gate.
Right. Okay.
So what you'd have is you have the projects cabin as you come in.
Yeah.
You have the porter cabin at the gate. You have the boys' porter cabin here. So basically, when you come in the gate, this area here will be like a safe zone.
Okay.
So when you go up the back, there'll be signage up there saying you must wear your PPE, your high vis. Where the green barn is, if they're going in there, then they have to wear the PPE and the high vis. The area that they go through in between the outbuildings will be like a zone that they have to wear the PPE and the high vis.
Yep.
So this area here, we could have visitors coming in and office staff, and they don't have to wear the high vis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it gives you a safe zone. So that everywhere else out with that safe zone, they would have to wear the proper PPE. Because anytime I go up to the yard, the first thing they do is they look at me to see if I'm wearing my PPE. Because they get great pleasure in trying to pull me up.
I can imagine.
But at the same time, if I go into the yard and they see me, they're like rats scurrying away from a sinking ship. Which usually means one or two things. They're not wearing the proper PPE. And Chris used to think that was me being a bit hard on them. But usually what it is that they're giving me cheek. And then I'll say, right, okay then, come over here, I'll have a word with you. So take them away from trying to be cheeky. Some of them can be really nasty with it, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm thinking, no, I'm not putting up with that. It's not for me to hear that. It's trying to take the rip out of me in front of all the guys. And then that's why they tend to think, oh, whenever I call somebody down to the office, then they say, oh God, what's Kevin, what have I done? You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me in the slightest because, as I say, I've said it before, but I'm there to make sure that they're doing their job right. And as long as they're safe and they come out at the end of the day without any injury, fantastic. That's me, I've accomplished my job. But whether they like me or not, I don't care. So it's not my role for them to like me. It's my role is to make sure that they're safe and that they're doing their job right And even though they will turn around and say, oh, for Christ's sake, come on, that's overkill. No, I said that's the Safety Act's procedure. You follow it. You've signed up to it. So that's the way I look at it. I would like to be able to concentrate more on health and safety.
Yeah.
But I have found that my day can be distracted. Like Christopher texted me the day. He says, "Can you give me an update on John Kelly? He's one of the escorts that's going to be putting on." But obviously, he never got my text. So he's phoned Vinny. Vinny's phoned Kathleen. Kathleen said, "Have you texted Chris?" I texted him over an hour ago. Now, whether he received the text or not, I don't know. I don't know whether it's dropped or what. But
Yeah, might well have.
But you can see that I've sent it.
Yeah.
And but I've answered his text. There was only half an hour between the difference. Sometimes Chris can be very sort of, how would I put it? If you're late, right? Fair enough. Sometimes, because it depends on what I'm doing with my mum. He said, I would like you to contact me if you're going to be late. But it could be like 5 minutes, and before I know it, or it could be held up in the traffic. But sometimes they're like that. I don't mean to be a pest, but you came in at 1:05. And I went, right. I said, okay. And I said to him, but can you tell me what time it is right now? And he goes, it's 5 to 5. I said, yes. I should have left at 4:30. And I don't even charge you for it. I said, but you're pulling me up for 5 minutes and I've given you an extra 20. And I says, that's how childish you can get. You know what I mean? Fair enough, if he wants to be stickler for the rules and the regulations, then fine, that's great. Put in a clocking system. And the guys can clock in, clock out. So but that there can be to his disadvantage as well.
Yeah. Maybe
So, but that's the kind of things, annoying little things that kind of pee me off.
Right, okay.
But all he always uses the thing against me as well is that I know you're looking after mum. You know what I mean? And then I said, but why bring it up when you already know the issue? But why are you bringing it up? We're looking at something at the moment. I'm hoping to get something in place, hopefully in the next 6 months or sooner, where we've got somebody coming in looking after my mum.
Okay.
Which means I can be at work
Yeah.
the full 8 hours instead of having to work from home and then come in the afternoon. So if we can get that established and up and running, then that's me. It's freed me to get.
Yeah,
to
that would work out quite well for you.
Well, it means I can.
I suppose even just a couple of days a week there.
Yeah, it means that I can actually get there. Now, that's part of the reason as well. Is that it's been holding up on the audits. Is that they should be getting done in the mornings or programmed in. Because by the time I come in at 1 o'clock, then I've got to go over to the base and come back. Most of my day's gone.
Your day's gone, yeah.
So it's and then the way Chris kind of looks at it is, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? And then I've got the personnel, then I've got the health and safety, and then I'm trying to juggle everything in my brain to make sure that I've accomplished all the tasks that I'm supposed to do. So ideally, yes, I would like there to be a split. Yeah. For me to be able to enhance my role.
Your health and safety stuff. No, that's good to know. That's good to know. Obviously, like I said, the reason for this project is to make the company grow. Like it's to sort out the processes that keep the company in a small company box and help the company grow into something bigger and better. And the more that everybody else can pitch in to that growth, the more you can define your own space in the company. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, you know what I mean, a bit wary, cagey about why they've got this person in. But it's not about, like I said, it's not about saying, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It's about finding about what are people doing just now? What do you want to be doing? Do you know what I mean? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And how can we all work to achieve that?
Yeah.
So I think that's the sort of mindset that we need to have. And if that's something clear in your head, oh, I want to do more health and safety stuff, then let's work to make that a viable thing. You know what I mean? So, and that means growing the business so that we can growing the business and training the staff so the staff can take on the personnel responsibilities and you can focus on health and safety stuff and then making sure the back end of the health and safety stuff is streamlined.
Yeah, because I did which my brother put me in, because as I say, I was 18 years working for the mod. Then I came over and started working for my brother, and my main lead for over in the mod, I'd say, was like trade union kind of personnel type issues, and I was the lead shop steward, health and safety rep for the base, and but I have subtly brought in aspects of that environment because there was nothing.
Yeah, I can
There was
imagine.
nothing here. It was just ad hoc. It was just thrown together, and it was. You were talking about we were probably a fifth of the size of what we are now, and then we slowly but surely were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and but I'm trying to think. Having you on board is a breath of fresh air, because me and Patrick have both said it's something that's well overdue. But the one thing you haven't factored in yet, which will probably come in as a curveball and hit you, is the Chris factor.
It's alright. I'm aware of the issues.
Because I've tried to do certain things, tried to improve things, and then next minute, boof's been kiboshed. And then you're like that. But why? We need to do it. And then you're like that, just sit back in your box.
Yeah, I think the thing that's in that respect, which is quite positive about working within the KTP framework, is that certain things have to be done now.
Yeah.
So, in order for the KTP to be completed as agreed by all parties, certain things have to be done. So it's kind of started there's a ball started rolling, and you can't really stop it.
Yeah.
And I think Chris appreciates that, and honestly, I wouldn't be here if everybody wasn't amenable to change.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that this is a organisational thing, it's a long project, but it's big changes, and and it affects everybody, and it's somebody from outside the company and outside the family that's being
Making
the
change,
bossy,
yeah.
the bossy boots, saying
No.
this is what we need. I actually think all that works together to facilitate a positive change culture. Which I'm not saying it's going to be easy,
No, I
but
don't
what
know.
I'm saying is you might find that the wheels are being greased a wee bit in a way that they might never have been before.
Yeah. There's certain. How would I put it? To me, there's a hierarchy, and obviously Chris is the one at the top. Then to me, it's Patrick. Then it should be me. It's the third one, but it doesn't really work that way.
Okay.
It's as if I'm kind of floating reject
Yeah.
out here somewhere, and only brought in when needed.
Okay.
But there is a structure where I think that you'd be able to communicate to the people from the top down, and they need to know their places and their positions. But certain ones who are at the lower end act as if they're up here,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't. They should be down here.
Like who? I'm not going to say anything but if this is a feeling, then it's good. It's good for me to know.
Rachel,
Right. Okay.
because it's a dance.
Okay.
It's a company.
Okay.
It's being protective mode, and also there's a lot of certain things I said that get filtered back, and then that creates animosity. That's why sometimes way back there was a period where hardly anybody spoke.
Okay.
Because the walls had ears and it all went back. And,
Okay.
and we knew it happened because sometimes Chris would come up with some, like, say for instance, part of my job as personnel is knowing where the people are. Chris had a habit of going up, having a plan at the top site, telling people where they are, and then totally change it.
Okay.
Then nobody knew where the hell they were. He's supposed to communicate it back down to the office so that we know. And me, from a personnel manager point of view, is I need to know where people are in case there's an emergency.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
then, if we have to call and get in contact with someone, then we know where they are. We used to have a board when we were up the top site where we put all the teams up, and then put them on their jobs.
Yeah.
And then you had a wee magnetic strip for each person, and then you put them on into the zone that they worked in, so that you knew where they were. And if it changed, you just changed it round.
Okay.
Or if they were off, you put them in that they were off. So you had a physical, do you call it, board there telling you where everybody was planned in for that day. And all it was a matter of you to go over there and go, right, oh, so-and-so's not in, that's it. You could do that electronically. It'd be great. Problem is, Chris Factor goes in, fucks up the whole plan, doesn't tell anybody. You're down there thinking that people are somewhere else, and then it's totally
It's all been
changed.
changed.
And then you're like that. Now, if somebody phoned up looking for someone in an emergency, you're chasing around trying to find out where the hell they are, and it looks stupid, it looks incompetent,
Yeah.
and it could be
It's
pretty
not,
serious.
Yeah, it's not professional. So how would you overcome that?
Put back that board.
Okay.
Have it so that the communication between the top and the bottom site are fluid. Whether it's on, they have an electronic, do you call it, attendance for the day to say where people are, and it gets updated so that, for instance, Kathleen, if she gets a call, she can go straight on, go onto it and say they're there. That's the number that the person's on. Phone straight away. You've got an instant, do you call it, 5-second update straight into phone somebody if there's a priority. That's the ideal thing, even if it's on a computer, it's on a diary spreadsheet or something like that you could see that they're all an active live sheet saying to them where they are.
Yeah, so there needs to be something that says A, who's here on the site, because that's something, there doesn't seem to be any record of who's actually on the site, like this in here or on the top site. I've not noticed anything that's
Right, you mean like a register sign?
if we were going to be old school, like a sign-in
Yes.
sheet or something
Yes.
like that. Is there one?
There is one.
Does
but
anybody
no,
use it?
When we get visitors in, they fill it in for the visitors.
But not for the staff.
No.
So, but this is me we're talking about.
But
I'm not talking about a sign-in sheet.
No.
I'm just saying an example of that. So there needs to be something like that, but there also needs to be something that says this is who's on site, and the guys have actually signed in to be on site, if you like.
Yes.
Arrived at Faslane tick box when they get to the gate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So arrived at Coolport at the gate. Do you know what I mean? Tick, because obviously you're not going to be able to do it once you get in there.
So what you mean, like say Vincent takes his team from the yard to Fastlane or to Coolport, he could send a message to say that's the guy's on site, or you're looking at something that could be on the
phone.
On the phone. But the thing is, as I say, when they go into if they go into Coolport,
They can't
they have to hand the phone back over, but they can have the phone and they can still sign in to say that they've gone on site and then put the phone into the locker.
And if it's somewhere like Coolport or something like that, where you maybe have to use the adapter phone, then I mean everybody knows that. So when it's signing into Coolport, tick, you know what I mean, and then there's a note saying, you know what I mean, phone will be handed into a locker, handed into your base security. Phone this number.
Yeah.
It means if you needed to contact them or something like that using the wee phone.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, so if
or can you not use the phone at all?
No, you can't. Okay. You can only use a.
But you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting.
But that'd be ideal. Something like that. Say, like, so like Vincent has one of these multimedia phones, but if you had the likes of Lewis or Gerald or something like that going in, then they don't have one of them. So whether it's a matter of they even send a text message to say that they're on site, and then text when they're off site, but they would see that more of a pain.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
Like, that's the thing. I had this in the last job as well. Install team always found things a pain, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially reporting after, like getting feedback after a job and stuff like that.
Because they kind of look at it as if, don't you trust us, or is there...
And trying to get it across to them that it's actually got nothing to do with that, do you know what I mean? And they do eventually get it, but you just need to make sure that the system that you implement is simple, and it's clearly explained why you're doing it, and that if the teams have any issues with it, then they're able to communicate it back to you for you to make improvements and stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's always my sort of thing, is keep it simple and explain thoroughly why you're doing something, and be open to making changes to things if you need to make changes. It stops people feeling like they're under the kibosh.
Some of them think that it's like Big Brother's watching them, and that's the way they look at it, and they take a negative vibe on it. But then when you try to explain to them that it's for their own health and safety, it's for our account, it's for us to get in contact. We have one guy in particular whose mother's not well, and and she's in and out of hospital. So I know the situation well, because I went through it with my father, and he's been passed away 10 years now. But we went through the same thing, so we're compassionate, we understand, we've told him if there's any issue with his mother, if they phone the office, we'll be straight in contact with him, and vice versa if he gets a call through. Just told him if it's an emergency, let the supervisor know, and just go, and just report back just to tell us what's going on. So it's a bit touch and go with his mother at the moment, but we do understand these situations. But if we have something, me personally, I think if we have
You've been in here far too long, you should put the kettle on.
We're just about, you can leave the door open. I was going to say, we're just about finished, Sam.
Ideally, one of the things that I would love there to see is whether we use the board or whether we use an electronic copy of the board, and everybody has access to it.
But we're basically looking at a signing in, signing out, location, attendance, protocol. You know what I mean? Some way of knowing who's where and when.
Yes.
And, you know what I mean? Yeah, which is obviously makes sense. You know what I mean? You track. You're supposed to track your tools coming in and out of the site, or your vehicles coming in and out of the site. You think you'd be tracking your people?
He's lost a lot of tools.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and this is one of the other things having Darren in place, is that one of the things I've said to him he has to set up a bit of a priority as well, is a collection and drop off, and and an inventory of all the tool, plant and equipment, and that if anybody's looking for it, they go to him and not to anyone else.
That's one of the things I'll be looking at creating in the G Suite, and we'll start by doing it with bookable rooms, and then bookable vehicles, and then bookable plant and equipment, and then we'll work our way down to the smaller things.
Consumables and that kind of stuff.
Right. So, Kevin, thanks so much for that. I'm going to stop this now because I think there'll be a mutiny if they don't get a cup of tea.